tell us a little bit about how you see the Raimi and Gordo relationship, having been lifelong friends?
I think we've all, if you're lucky enough, you grew up with someone that you're still friends with. I have a couple of friends from first grade, so you've seen every ounce of their life, every bad haircut, every girlfriend that they dated, or if it's grade school, everyone that they kind of dated. So if it's guy-girl best friends, then it's probably been even more embarrassing. I always look at it as embarrassing, but also like good things too, and I'm sure that they have a million stories and they almost speak their own language. I like to think of it that way, and Peyton and I have kind of, when we shot the pilot, we spent a couple days together, and it was pretty easy to kind of get comfortable with each other. So I think Reynie and Gordo love each other like brother and sister, and probably fight that way a little bit too. I think Gordo looks at her almost as a little sister, then sometimes he takes a fatherly role in the original timeline before it changes because her dad passes so young. I mean, that's the way I always thought of it until he came back now. And I tried to, in my head, think, oh, did I change from one timeline to the other? Was I different when her dad wasn't around? No writers have told me that, so I'm making it up myself then. So yeah, it's this great friendship. Even when they kind of fight, no fight is ever gonna last longer than a day, and we never apologize. I think it's episode 2 where we never apologize, and she told me that when we were 10. So hopefully that resonates with people who watch the show. They've had the friend like that.
Are we ever going to meet Gordos Family? Do they exist?
They do exist. I don't know my wife's name. My daughter's name is Laurel. They're actually in the pilot. My daughter and I are playing outside. My wife was supposed to be in one of the scenes, but she wasn't. But she's at the birthday party for Raimi. I hope they do. I feel like the way I look at it is a lot of Gordo would be in what would be a second season. So therefore, we need to have a second season so you can find out all the amazing things. But I do think some family. We find out later on in the season 1 a little bit more about Gordo and some other relationships, and maybe some of his backstory or why he is the way he is. There's someone related to him that will show up, not his wife, who isn't related, and his daughter. Maybe the daughter will come back, but it's there will be a relationship that definitely molds who he is as being kind of a stay-at-home dad. You find out what Gordo's actually profession would be, and that he is a stay-at-home dad, and that might lead you to understand some of the reasons he is the way he is. But I hope we see his family. Yeah, my daughter is cute. I can tell you that. She's probably super tall now. If you notice the young Raimi, when we shot the pilot, Ava is tiny, and now as we're in episode 4, she's growing at she better slow down or she's gonna lose it. So, which aired 4, I come in now and she's in that garage a lot, and it's 2016 and she's on a ham radio. Maybe that's the way she's handling her grief. She's just resorting back to something that would go pre-iPhone, pre-flip phone, really bad big giant car phone. She's gone back to ham radio. So yeah, I think at some point Gordo, if there is a revelation that he is keyed into what the situation is, her behavior would be probably something that would because she's keeping secrets, and she's keeping a lot in her brain. 2 timelines would drive most people crazy, I think. Well, without giving too much away, I think Gordo is Team Mosby. He just showed up in episode 4, the detective that she kind of had the little fling with. Mm-hmm. There will be some interaction down the line. I think Daniel and Gordo were probably pretty tight. He's obviously been around, and I think anyone that makes her happy would be good. The scripts have been coming in. There are some kind of funny little plays off of between. I think maybe it might end up being a little bit of a love triangle which would be crazy to have a love triangle with someone new and then someone new who doesn't remember you. I don't know who has the advantage. Probably the new that doesn't remember you. And there's some really cool scenes coming up about that, her trying to deal with the possibility of a new boyfriend and then the fiance who doesn't know anymore. And I think the writers do a really good job playing around with that, but yet making it really sweet. This Mosby character, the other cop, instead of just being like a random guy on a show who's like Rob is really good looking. I mean, so people say. They do some nice stuff with him around episode 10 where it's like, oh, you don't see that a lot in a show where they give more, they treat that relationship better than you would think. So as far as Gordo, I think he's just happy with anyone that makes her happy, and then anyone who doesn't he probably won't like, but I think he chooses sides. There's a fun little episode in like 8 or 9 where he has his little man crush. I think on Detective Mosby.
Being so attuned to Raimi's life, does he have a sense of the great threat of the Nightingale killer? Because not only did he take her mom and kill her mom, but he could still be around out there in the present.
Yeah, I think he does, but yet in reality, I think Raimi is tougher than he is and probably takes care of herself better. You know, she can technically legally carry a gun. I'm sure there is. You know, it's almost like that thing of like, hey, be careful out there. There's not a lot I can do to protect you, but you can protect yourself. So I think as the Nightingale stuff continues throughout the season, that would definitely be something of a, you know, it's kind of like a husband and a wife. When every time the husband or the wife leaves to go, when you're a police officer, you never know if they're going to come home that night. So I think that is the case no matter what your relationship is to someone who's in law enforcement or something. And then when you have this Nightingale who eventually is so personal to her with her, you know, with her mother's abduction and murder, I think Gordo might worry more about her being okay with the fact of trying to track down someone, and it's very personal, and you know what she might do or drive herself to do in order to find this person who has affected her life basically so much.